ஆழ்வார் எம்பெருமானார் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். Today we are going to discuss about hygiene in a spiritual context. There is a lot of trouble nowadays, as we all know, due to the new virus which is spreading everywhere and causing chaos. In light of this, there is a lot of fear amongst the minds of people, uncertainty. There is a lot of confusion on what to do, what not to do, and so on. In this situation, we have to look into our own Purvacharya's lives, their advices, and see how best we can survive in such situations without losing hope, without becoming very negative, and so on. So this session is aimed at refreshing our own thought process, bringing our ideas together based on the words of Purvacharyas, regaining strength in handling such dire situations, and most importantly, fully depending on Bhagavan, his lotus feet in such situations, and overcoming the stress which is acquired due to the ongoing situation. So hygiene is one of the most important aspects which is being discussed all over the world now. Let us see it from a spiritual perspective. What is hygiene? How it is maintained by our Purvacharyas? How it is maintained based on the instructions given in Shastram, and so on. First of all, hygiene should be seen in two aspects. There is internal hygiene, external hygiene. Internal hygiene relates to how our mind is clear, is pure, how it is able to take decisions clearly, and so on. External hygiene relates to the body, how we keep our body clean, how we ensure that we are always on the guard, we are always protected. So both internal hygiene and external hygiene are equally important. If we look at our Shastram, if we look at our Acharya's instructions, we can clearly see that they were well ahead in hygiene, both internal and external. many terms which we are discussing today, such as keeping the body clean, washing it regularly, washing the hands, washing the feet, washing the legs. This talks about social distancing. All of these were naturally built in our culture. Our culture is based on Vedam. Our Sampradayam is based on Vedam. So for us, Vedam shows many important aspects, such as keeping oneself, especially looking at the external hygiene, keeping oneself clean is highly emphasized in Vedam. It is normal if we observe in any traditional family, people would normally bath at least 2 times, once in the morning and once in the evening. And it is also normal to observe that before consuming food, one will wash their hands and feet. Similarly, after taking food, after consuming food, one will wash the hands and wash the feet. It is quite normal in any traditional family to do that. In the name of modernization, people started ignoring all of these. For example, people would just eat with a spoon without even washing the hands. They would use both hands while eating. And then once they are done eating, they would just leave the plate and spoon there without even having to wash their hands. They would eat while standing with their shoes on or sandals on, chappals on, and so on. We see all these different types of practices. But if you look at how a traditional person will eat, we first wash the hands, feet, and come and be seated in a comfortable position. Do observe a few minutes of silence, recite some mantras, bring focus in the mind, understand that we are accepting prasadam, we are consuming prasadam, and then eat peacefully. For that 15 minutes or 20 minutes, one would not speak a word, just focus on consuming food, prasadam, and then once done, clearly wash the hands, wash the feet, and then go on to the next task. So that eating is done in a proper environment without any other disturbance, with proper focus, washing the hands, washing the feet before, and washing the hands and washing the feet after consuming food. This is just an example of external hygiene, how one ensures that when one is consuming food, one does it in a proper way, cleaning the hands and feet before, cleaning the hands and feet after, and so on. Similarly, if we observe the way the food is managed, the way the raw materials are managed, there is a lot of coherence, there is a lot of thought process in all of that. For example, raw materials are kept in a separate place. And then there is cooked food. Once the food is prepared, once it is cooked, that cooked food will not be mixed with the raw materials. The cooked food will be kept separately. We can also relate to how our elders would say, when we touch our mouth while eating, elders will advise that don't touch the common food which is kept for serving with the hand which has touched our mouth. So these manners, this discipline is built in the system, in the culture. After touching the food and after one starts eating the food, one's hand becomes contaminated. And one should not go back and touch the common food which is kept for serving others. So there are 3 layers of how we maintain the food. The raw materials, they are kept separately, and then there is cooked food, that is kept separately, and then the food which we are consuming currently, that food is not mixed with the common food. So all these disciplines are in place already. So we need to ensure that these discipline, these manners, these etiquettes, they are properly taught to children, they are practiced at home. One should sit in a relaxed manner while consuming food. One should not discuss a lot while eating. One should focus on the prasadam and consume it. And once completed, one should thoroughly wash the hands and feet. And the cooked food, raw materials and individuals' food, they are not mixed with each other. They are all kept separately. So this is just one particular aspect in maintaining external hygiene. So this ensures that even if one person is contaminated, it does not spread to others, because there is reasonable barriers, separation. Similarly, it is always emphasized in our culture that one does not touch the face, one does not pick the nose, or one does not put the hand in the mouth to pick something from the gaps of the teeth, or so on. So when somebody does any of that, it is always emphasized that one should go and wash the hand immediately. So all of these have hygiene thought process in all of these rules and regulations. So we may have generally ignored or even made fun of these things, like biting nails or picking the nose or picking the ears. So all of these people casually do, bite the nail and then just go and touch something else, or rub the eyes and go and touch something else, or pick the nose and touch something else. All of these are done so casually, and when our elders emphasize that these things should not be done, they are labeled as, very old-fashioned. Why are you so strict? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And so on. So these aspects of physical hygiene are very important, and that is why they have a good place in our culture. Shastram emphasizes that personal hygiene, physical hygiene is very important. There are many things like this. There is the concept of asaucham. When somebody dies in the family, or when a child is born in a family, there are certain days where we observe asaucham and we don't touch others who are outside the family circle, or they don't touch us. If they touch us, then they have to take bath. So all of these, like social distancing, for example, social distancing is greatly emphasized now. Don't stand close to someone, very close to someone. Have some gap, have 1 meter gap or so on when we are discussing with others. So in olden days, our elders used to say, even many who are following these rules, they are following it with dedication, with sincerity. We don't like to be touched by others. We try to maintain distance, especially those who are engaged in public. For example, archakas or kainkaryaparas in temples, we see that they should not be touched. And some would say that you are practicing untouchability, you are discriminating and so on. But the concept was totally misunderstood. If there is an archaka, that archaka should not be touched by anyone, not just this caste or that caste or man or woman or whatnot. There is no discrimination in that. Maybe over time people changed it in different ways, but the underlying principle, if there is an archaka in a temple, that person should not be touched by anyone else. Similarly, those who are engaged in cooking for Bhagavan, those who are in Madapalli Kainkaryam, they should not touch anyone else. Even we know from our own elders, our grandfather, father, who are all engaged in Kainkaryam, they would say, don't touch me. Even to their own grandchildren, their own children, their own brothers, they would always maintain the distance. Because when someone who is in public service, if they get infected, there is opportunity for others to get infected. There is more opportunity for others to get infected. So this is why those who are in public service, there is great emphasis on not having physical contact throughout the day. Even if they go home, unless they are going to take a bath and they are going to fully cleanse themselves, they will not even touch children. They will not touch others. They will stay separate, maintain distance, and then come back to Kainkaryam. If they touch someone else, then one has to take bath, one has to cleanse oneself. That is the normal practice. That is what is expected out of those who are engaged in public, those who are interacting with public frequently. So these aspects, these rules and regulations which are present in Shastram, they are very meaningful, they are very purposeful. Suddenly, when there is a particular virus, now we all realize the importance of being physically clean, distancing ourselves from others, not having handshakes, hugs, physical contact and so on. But all of these are always good to practice. There is nothing to do with untouchability. There is nothing to do with discriminating one person from another. These are all good, healthy, physical aspects to keep ourselves clean. That is the intent in Shastram. Shastram, Vedam, is glorified as more concerned, more affectionate towards all the Atmas. 1,000 times more concerned than a mother would be concerned for her son. That is how caring Shastram is towards us. So Shastram is telling us that follow discipline, wake up at particular times, take bath. Even while bathing, it is always emphasized that one should bath fully, because many are used to just bathing up to body and leaving the head untouched, fearing that we will catch cold and whatnot. But cleansing the body means cleansing everywhere, from top to bottom. If we don't cleanse our hair, if we don't cleanse our head, then there is scope for viruses or bacteria to stay alert in there and spread from there. So cleansing the body means full cleansing. And then washing hands regularly. Whenever we go to toilet, we have to wash hands thoroughly, wash the feet. So all of these are good habits, good health aspects which we all need to follow at all times. But now we are all instructed by the government, by the doctors, by the health professionals. They are all now giving the same instructions which are being given by Shastram for so long. So this can be taken as an opportunity to regularize, to streamline our own physical hygiene, how we take care of our body properly, do pranayama, clean the breath, ensure that breathing is proper. That is another aspect in keeping the body clean. Washing regularly, not touching the face, not biting the nails, and do those acts which are only hygienic. Food also plays a major role. Ensure sattvic food always. Shastram always says that once food determines the quality one develops. If we keep eating rajasic and tamasic food, then we will also develop those qualities. So to keep the body clean, it is also important what food we eat. We should eat freshly cooked food. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says that food which is kept for more than several hours, food which has become stale, food which is infected with worms or other fungus or so on, all of these should not be eaten. We should not preserve food for too long. Ensure that food is always prepared freshly, offered to Perumal, and then eat fresh. So food habits, the food which we consume, all of that play a major role in our hygiene. So we have to think about the physical hygiene in a holistic manner, bodily aspects, breathing aspects, food aspects, all of these need to be considered, and practically all of these should be implemented so that one can protect oneself as best as possible. Even after having all of these, even after having safe practices, still somebody else could breach our health by contamination, by spreading the virus and so on. But from our side, we should ensure that we are protecting ourselves. It is like, even though we may be following the traffic rules fully and properly, somebody else may come and hit us while traveling. But we cannot cite that reason and violate the traffic rules ourselves. We need to ensure that we are clear in the hygiene aspects and we follow it properly. We cannot plan for unexpected situations, but we can plan for the expected situations and minimize the risk of contamination in general and also contamination in these viruses and so on. So this is some insight in the physical hygiene, what we need to consider at this time. We see a lot of fear, so it is better to be prepared and it's better to be safe in having a clean physical environment, having a clean food habit, and ensuring that our hygiene is a top priority for us. So that is the external hygiene, the physical aspects. Let us also see internal hygiene, which is equally important. One's mind should be very, very stable and clear, especially situations like now when there is a lot of fear. People may say it's fear mongering sometimes, but there is a lot of truth in what's happening. For example, in India, the impact of virus may not be too much, but all over the world we see in several countries there is a lot of impact due to this virus. So the problem is real, and even from a low level risk, it could become high level risk in a very short time frame, because in some countries we see that it was not so well spread initially, but within a week or so things changed dramatically, that so many people have become infected. So the risk is there. There's a lot of countries where governments are taking great efforts in trying to contain the spread and keeping people locked, asking people to remain locked in their own homes, not travel unnecessarily, and so on. So all of these could cause a lot of strain in our mind, because there is a lot of negativity around, and moreover a lot of us are not used to sitting at home and doing nothing. We are always on the run. We are always doing something, whether it is office, entertainment, sports, and so on. There is a lot of activities. The mind is always looking for something to do, but we are forced to remain indoors with very little scope for activities, and we are not used to it. It's a big change for many people, and that change is unbearable for some people. So they may go crazy, they may go mad. There may be internal tensions in family. Some people who are not used to spending time together, maybe their minds and their thought process are not in sync, and they are spending together. They are forcefully spending time together. That may lead to unnecessary pressure and so on. So in this situation, we need to have internal hygiene. The mind should be very clear. The intellect should be very clear. We should ensure that we focus on good things, things which we have lost over time. Reading Bhagavad Vishayam, matters relating to spiritual aspects, reading about the lives of our Purvacharyas, Alvars, Bhagavan's Leelas, listening to lectures, reciting pasurams, discussing about Bhagavan, Alvars, Acharyas and so on. All of these would purify our mind. All of these will help us focus on the real purpose of life. We all are surrendered to Bhagavan through an Acharya. So we all should be craving, longing to serve Bhagavan eternally in Paramapadam. For that, our life here is a test bed. We should be practicing here how we will serve Bhagavan in Paramapadam. That is what our Alvars and Acharyas say. In this material world, when we are here, our life should be dedicated to Bhagavan, Bhagavatas, Alvars, Acharyas, Divideshams and so on. So we should be taking this opportunity where we have nothing else to do, where we don't have to do our routine activities, we have a lot of time in our hand. We should take this opportunity, engage the mind in positive aspects about Bhagavan, Bhagavatas, Alvars, Acharyas, Puranas, Itihasas, Divya Prabandham, Rahasya Granthams, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranamam. There is so much for us to engage in, indulge in, immerse in. We should be making use of this time and connecting with our Acharyas, connecting with the Bhagavatas who are around us, keeping the environment positive, driving away the negativity and making best use of our time. Adversities should be turned into opportunities. That is the best way to have long-term peace and harmony and happiness. We can see in the lives of Bhagavan, Alvars, Acharyas, many adversities have happened. Even Bhagavan, when he appears, when he incarnated as Sri Rama, he went through turmoil. Alvars explained that he did go through all of this trouble for the sake of saving the Atmas, for the sake of protecting all of us, to uplift all of us. Nammalvar says, Natil Pirandu, Manisarka, Padadana Pattu. So Bhagavan himself goes through trouble to help us. Similarly, we can see in the lives of Alvars and Acharyas, they have gone through many troubles. Even Adishesha incarnation, Ramanujacharya, Emperor had to go through troubles himself. He had to travel all the way to Melkote and stay there for 12 years. Kuratalwan lost his own eyes. Periyanambi lost his eyes and eventually he succumbed and he ascended to Paramapadam. So there were so many troubles, so many dire situations which were faced by our Alvars and Acharyas. But we have to look at their total dedication towards Bhagavan. Even in dire situations, they never gave up. They continued on with their journey. They kept serving Bhagavan. If Ramanujacharya became upset and if he had given up, then we would not have Tirunarayanapuram, Melkot, in its shape today. We would not have Ramanuja Sampradayam spread all over the world today. Because he had to leave Sri Rangam, he saw that adversity as an opportunity. He turned that adversity into an opportunity and he spread our Sampradayam outside our Tamil speaking region and spread it all over the Bharatadesham in due course. So every time there is a hurdle, that hurdle is changed into a stepping stone. That is what great personalities do. That is what our Alvars and Acharyas have done. So similarly, we have to look up for inspirations from them. In today's situation, if we are forced to sit at home, let us make use of that time effectively. Let us study our Sampradayam, take that time and study deep, understand deeper principles, help in local temples. Some people may not have imagined that they would have 7 hours, 8 hours time in their hands every day because of their heavy work schedule and so on. Now they have that time. They can make use of that time in providing some service to the local temple, mutt, their own Acharya, Tirumalige or mutt, or the community. Encourage others, bring positivity in others. So the mind has to be engaged positively. It has to be motivated. Our mind should be focused on Bhagavan and Bhagavad Vishayam all the time. Make use of the technology. Even where there are places where there are no opportunity for travel, there are strict travel bans. We cannot even come out of our homes. Connect through phones, connect through internet. Have discussions about Bhagavan. Recite pasarams together. Read commentaries and share Bhagavad Anubhavam. Make use of the technology as best as possible. Worst case, just take a book and just keep reading. Share between families. So this is one way we can engage our mind in a positive way and keep it clean, because this is the time where many people may develop anxiety, they may become restless. All of that should be avoided and mind should be positively engaged as best as possible. These are some thoughts, some ideas, and everyone can think about the best way each one can engage and maintain the positivity, maintain the spirituality, maintain devotion, and cross over this difficult situation. Obviously, we have to depend on Bhagavan, Alvars, Acharyas for their mercy, and we have to fully pray to them always, as usual. Many times, many people ask, is there any particular shlokam, any particular pasaram we should be reciting at this time? Every pasaram of Alvars is potent in bringing peace. We don't need to recite any particular specific pasaram, but our regular engagement in Divya Prabandham, Shastram and so on will bring in positivity. Any day, every day, whenever we are performing Shatumarai, we are always saying, Kadal Soolnda Mannulagam Vaazha, Adiyargal Vaazha, Aranganagar Vaazha, Shadagoban Tandamil Nool Vaazha, Kadal Soolnda Mannulagam Vaazha, Manavazha Mamaniye Innum Oru Nootrandirum. So we are saying that the whole world should live. Now Vaazha, life, what does that mean? That means meaningful life. Everyone should be engaged in Kaikaryam. Everyone should understand their true nature. Everyone should appreciate being born as a human in good families with good devotional environment, spiritual environment. Everyone should be thankful. That is the life we are desiring for in this world. That nice environment where there is mutual encouragement to engage in Kaikaryam. That is Valchi as per our Alvars and Acharyas. That life is what is being prayed every day for everyone by all the Sri Vaishnavas. We are praying every day that there should be good environment for Kaikaryam for everyone. Sri Rangam should survive. Sri Rangam should live gloriously. All the devotees should live gloriously. That is what our prayers every day. So when we are praying in this manner for the benefit of everyone every day, what is the need for a separate special prayer? We are always praying. We are always desiring that everyone lives joyfully, everyone serves Bhagavan, Alvars and Acharyas. So that positivity will catch on. If one person is positive, that will spread as well. And that will bring in more purity, both physically as well as in the mind. So let us depend upon the mercy of Bhagavan, Alvars and Acharyas and bring out that positivity from every one of us and help each other. Even if someone is down, if someone is emotionally affected, try to help and bring up the spirits in others as well. With this we will stop, and if there are any specific questions, we will take up. Alvar Emberumanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam.
To learn such valuable information about our Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, please download KOYIL, KOYIL app from Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Our website is koyil.org, KOYIL.org.